subject of health, we need to know what are they spraying and impact does it have on human.
No, don't bring up the chemtrails. Not till later.
Please, Augustus, I know you're down there. Please make as much noise about chemtrails as you can, brother, because it's honestly at this point it's undeniable. I mean, literally,
they deleted 4 of my Clubhouse accounts.
I can understand how people.
Can you believe that? They like specifically target John Kitover.
Everyone, wherever you are, whatever city you're in.
Like without, I mean, I contribute to the activity on the app. It's just
Pay attention
stupid.
to the sky. Spend a couple days.
I mean, it's like if they're gonna delete my accounts to like improve behavior or something, it's not me. It's gotta be just because they record and people complain like, "Oh, that's all records."
I'm not as big. I don't know what it is. I have literally hundreds of billions of views everywhere else. Please pay attention to the skies.
I think I hear somebody hitting a vape as they're talking about how to make more healthy again.
Something going on above our skies.
I heard somebody
And we
hitting
need
a
to
vape
know
pen.
what it is. It's been too long. That's not one. So Augustus, please talk. We got to talk to Mr. Kennedy. We need answers,
I agree. Just keep moving forward.
I'm begging you. That's number one.
Let it go.
Yeah,
It's the fastest way to resolve.
Check your DMs. I just sent you a fantastic article written by Nicole Shanahan, who is the running mate of RFK Jr. for his presidential campaign. So she wrote this thing called the Dark Maha Report.
Oh, shit, they're coming to you now. They're coming to you. Oh, shit. We said too much. Let's let reach your back.
I just want to let people know you can actually set your clock to it. Just look on the way to work. On the way to work every single day.
I cannot believe you cloned me.
And then,
You're my first replicant. Thank you, John.
then it starts to clear a little bit, and then
You are essentially voluntarily, without me even asking you, to basically clone me. I thank you,
It's
John.
like
I feel like I will live forever now. You were pepperoni. Oh man, John, you're back.
But if you can't see it,
You're back and better than ever before, John.
You know what drives me the most?
I'd like to commission you as a unofficial lieutenant in the United States Army. Congratulations, John. You are now an officer in the U.S. military. You've done it, John. Go forth and bring your people justice.
And I'm in New York. I see it every day. I've seen it in Dallas. I've seen it in LA. I've seen it in Las Vegas. Every major city. I don't see it as much in the rural areas, but it still happens.
Let me play you a little clip, John.
This is not a conspiracy.
This is from King Arthur.
6 months ago, exactly what you showed.
Yeah, you said it for me.
Off. One plane just didn't have it. It was either out or he forgot to pull the handle to let the shit out. It's so obvious.
And tell your friends and family. Say, listen, don't believe me. I understand it sounds crazy. Pay attention to the sky.
Okay, this is for you, John. This is your knighting ceremony. Oh, I don't know why this is not working. Alright, this has been the campaign to elect John Kitover, meditation per victory.
I see everyone suck as you. I'm not gonna not. Swear face to a You're right. I'm not gonna night. You. Unite me. That night tonight. I turn off your mercy. What's this? What happened to us? What's this? You lost family. I lost country. I lost home. I have a friend. Keep it, Julius! I never saw this. Lies. King Arthur. I'm your humble knight, and I swear allegiance to the courage in your veins. So strong it is, its souls must leave. The West is free and with us! The wars are over! A king! Peace! this ring. Hereafter, so that we remember our bondings, we shall always come together in a circle to hear and tell of deeds good and brave. I will build a round table where this fellowship shall meet, and a hole about the table.
We are trying to save, and most men are looking at the woman with the red dress. But until we do, these people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy. You have to understand, most of these people.
But first, a message from Walmart, where you can find shopping and savings.
I'm super excited to join the Whatnot family. Whatnot is a live streaming platform where you guys can buy, sell, auction.
That's right. So, everything else down here in the window, what was all those alarms, bro? We start talking chemtrails, nice to meet you. It's just, they were doing it fast. And we got some hands raised. So, go ahead, Joe. I came in here back in 2022. Actually, one of the reasons we were talking about actually was microscopically microscopic plastic polymers. About what you know, this is a weak spot. The staff. I spent 18 years in city council. I spoke about.
Transform you into the semblance of the Duke. The grave will think her husband has returned. For the cliff, the sea, your lust will hold you up. You will float on the dragon's breath. Ride!
Take out the outer shade of the Duke.
Change! That's it! That's it! Right up for sunrise.
John, I hope this programming is beneficial for you.
Free and easy wandering. Teachings from the Jonesy. The inner.
What's up for dinner?
But first, man, my hamburger helper.
Yes, Mother, that's exactly what it was. All the time. Mend the soul. Speak the charm of making.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yo, what's up, brother?
Hey, everybody, this is John Kitover. I recognize former speaker's voice. Anyways, I just wanted to read some parts from this Make Our Children Healthy Again strategy PDF because I know a lot of people probably can't read it, won't read it, don't have the time. But, I'll just read like 3 bullet points if that's okay with all the other speakers.
Yeah.
So this came out on February 13th, 2025. These are some of the bullet points that I thought were interesting. Lack of physical activity and chronic stress. American children are experiencing unprecedented levels of inactivity, screen use, and practice, aka big business. This has led to unnecessary treatments and long-term health risks. This is the next bullet point is vaccine injury. HHS in collaboration with NIAID will investigate vaccine injuries with improved data collection and analysis, including through a new vaccine injury research program at the NIH Clinical Center that may expand to centers around the country. Autism. HHS through NIH in collaboration with CMS will study the root causes of autism, including through the Real World Data RWD platform and related initiatives. There's water quality, air quality, microplastics and synthetics, prescribing patterns and impact on mental health, food for health, nutrition, repurposed drugs, childhood cancer, and AI. NIH and OSTP will develop an evidence-based and AI-driven approach to harnessing the data and technology available to transform research and clinical trials on pediatric cancer. This can be a model for future research in other critical areas. Next is precision technology, oral health and systemic disease connection, longitudinal pediatric health insights. VA, that's Veteran Affairs, will provide the NIH critical data and metrics on ADHD, diabetes, and pharmaceutical usage among CHAMP VA beneficiaries under 18 to address longstanding gaps in pediatric research, particularly longitudinal analyses. With over 200,000 CHAMP VA beneficiaries in this age group, VA is uniquely positioned to track children's health journeys across the U.S. and will enter into a data sharing agreement with NIH, excluding personally identifiable information to inform national strategies, early intervention, appropriate care utilization, mental health policy. So the government's going to use the VA and 200,000 children to do experimentation, apparently, or testing. Next is clinical trial network, electromagnetic radiation, mental health addiction research, rural tribal health, artificial intelligence. Big emphasis on AI. So that's only page 6, up to 6 of 18 pages. There were some specific things I wanted to call out, but if people have a chance to look at this, so this is the vaccine framework. DPC and HHS will develop a framework focused on ensuring America has the best childhood vaccine schedule, addressing vaccine injuries, modernizing American vaccines with transparent gold standard science, correcting conflicts of interest and misaligned incentives, ensuring scientific and medical freedom. Early childhood physical activity, there's so much in here. So this is agricultural deregulation. Streamline organic certification processes, reduce costs for small farms transitioning to organic practices. Eliminate unnecessary bureaucratic barriers for community-supported agriculture programs. Reduce regulatory compliance burdens for small farms. Streamline, digitize USDA application processes. Generate reliable access to credit. Improve land acquisition permitting process. So it's, unfortunately, as someone who has had many accounts deleted for speaking out against the COVID-19 vaccines, I don't get the feeling that this is like any kind of prohibition or regulation on mRNA manufacturing, distribution, marketing. I don't know if people saw yesterday, but the Pediatrics Association group with 30,000 members came out and said that they are not going to comply with Secretary Kennedy's updated policy on juvenile or pediatric COVID-19 vaccination, and they said they recommending parents vaccinate their children with COVID-19 vaccines. So the mainstream media, through Sinclair Broadcasting or Time Warner and CNN, is still putting out mass messaging to the American population to vaccinate your juvenile children or anybody with COVID-19 vaccine. So we are still living in a medical, tyrannical industrial complex with a monopoly on the media that is still encouraging all Americans to get the COVID-19 vaccine. And unfortunately, that is not in alignment with the new government and Secretary Kennedy. So also, I don't know if you saw, but Jenny McCarthy also came out and said that she was targeted and attacked by Big Pharma for speaking out against the child COVID-19 or the child vaccination schedule, which is, I think it's 79 injections or 59 injections. So we're living
72.
in 72. So we're living in medical tyranny, and Augustus is doing a great job organizing, helping people spread messaging and fight back. But it is a small group. Share the room, add everybody as a friend. You know, the network grows stronger, the more connected we become. So thanks for letting me read all that, and I hope everybody has a great day.
No, that was a really great read and great take. Jenny McCarthy, you know, she actually has been commenting on my Instagram channel, supporting the work that I'm doing on that platform. Jenny McCarthy, great person. Shout her out. So, with that being said, let's go to Prashant.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Or good afternoon, wherever you're at. It's morning for me here in Hawaii. But, you know, for the first time, I think maybe some real change is happening. Reports are easy. Words are easy. I'll believe it more when we start seeing the real change in effect. You know, one of the reasons I have hope, please let me finish before anybody jumps in by getting set off, because I'm not trying to set anybody off. But this is one of the reasons I have hope. I just found an article this morning. It says Trump's afterlife fear sparks fresh health concerns as president admits, I'm not doing well. Well, I've said it a number of times in the past months that Trump looks really, really sick, sicker than he's ever been in all the 12 years we've had him in the public sphere. He looks really bad. And I've studied the science of the mind, a 3,000-year-old philosophy and science. And one of the only things that really makes people change is fear. And one of the worst fears that humans have is fear of death. So why am I saying this? Because I think Donald Trump right now is facing fear of death. That's what that article says that I just pointed out to you. I can share it if anybody wants to see it. But that's why I have hope. Because personally, I think this is one of the most dark men that's ever been in our White House. But when you face fear of death, it can be, it's not always, but it can be a catalyst for real change. And that's why I think.
I went around and clicked everybody's profile and added everybody, if everybody else could do the same, because again, you know, this communication, this room, this organizing effort, the more connected we are, the stronger, you know, the messaging and the distribution will be, and the stronger we will all be as a group.
And the pesticide part, you know, maybe they're working on it and they're like, just want a clean draft, and this is the part that they're kind of still working out. Secondly, you know, Kennedy's all about the gold standard science coming to what's causing all these chronic disease, and I believe that main culprit after the mRNA tech is glyphosate. I think these studies are going to show that. And if those studies aren't done yet, you know, maybe it's a strategic decision to focus on the other things now, and then when those studies start coming, we can focus on the pesticides a little more. So that's my hope I got there. I put up in the top nest. We got a big account. We got what's his name?
Oh, here on Clubhouse. Well, this is on X, by the way.
The Vigilant Fox is posting about these liability shields.
Go to X and look up USA_Justice.
Help get the word out about that. He just posted that an hour ago, so we can help help him get the word out there.
It's his
And
ex-girlfriend.
yeah, you
It's
know,
in
the
the
same
chat.
way they went after a liability shield for the childhood.
Join the
vaccines
room
back in
on there.
1986,
You can jump out of this
got us
clubhouse
here
room if you want. Join the X
is this is
space.
a suspension of
Or if you
law,
want, if you got another
as
burner,
well as
just
our
live stream
constitutional
this
rights
X
to
space into
process,
Clubhouse and create a
to
room
getting our grievances
called
addressed, to a jury trial. This is the first Fifth and
Secretary
Seventh Amendment they
Candidate
took away in
Vaccine
1986. We've seen
Regulation,
what happened.
something like that.
They went, 5-6 steps with the vaccine schedule, depending on
Actually,
how you
John, I'm
look at
going to
it.
recreate this room.
And
Change the title.
yeah, we can't trust serial criminals to do the right thing. And it's there's a lot of overlap between big pharma, big ag. Of course, let the food be the medicine. You go back to that, but this mRNA tech, it's just turning us into guinea pigs, right? It's completely against nature, whether you believe in a creator or just even evolution. So yeah, and it's the same thing with GMOs. Experimenting with our plants, with the microbes, with the soil. This stuff's dangerous. They could be creating all sorts of blights and famines, and that's in their financial interest, right? So is it on purpose when they collapse our food supply and then make all the more money? We saw they made so much money from COVID. So yeah, this stuff's really no good. I like what our friend Nuni was saying earlier. Yeah, we're all on the same side. They are masters of the arts of dividing movements like ours. We're all on the same side. We got to make our food and land safe again. These are the two main culprits. Yeah, I'm right there with everybody yelling about mRNA tech. This is more urgent, but yeah, we got to keep pounding the table about both these issues. It's a fertility crisis that we're in, guys. We're the sickest country on the planet. We got to do something about that. Our kids are being gaslit. I mean, something that is so preposterous, so ridiculous. It's child abuse, and they normalize it, and that's the power of the media work. It's all hands on deck. If you're retired, if whatever stage of life is, if you got a little extra time, when we call our congressman, that is all this nonsense. One of the narratives of Big Ag right now is that they're not going after a liability shield, which is just bizarre that anybody could even believe that, because they're using the same defense right now in the Supreme Court to try to get 67,000 cases of same legal technicality that they're pushing for in this legislation. So yeah, we got to revoke all these liability shields. Thomas Massey has brought forth a great bill about pulling back the PrEP Act. Representative Gosar has a bill in the House right now about restoring accountability for the childhood immunization schedule. And of course, we got to say no to this new Section 453 that's about the Big Ag. So, yeah, great time to call a congressman and tell them, listen, our constitutional rights are non-negotiable, and they need to stand for us. So, yeah, thanks for hosting, Augustus. Repost that link. It's all the way to the left and the top of the nest if you like. Vigilant Fox did a great write-up on it. So.
Okay, thanks for sharing, Johnny. Go ahead, Hope.
Thank you. So, I listen. I'm a space hopper. I listen to a lot of people, and a lot of the time I really retain it. So when Augustus said that there would probably be something coming out around August or September, I've just been holding off, expecting that RFK Jr. is going to be doing something about the vaccinations. I have faith. When it comes to the media, they're propagandists. They're never going to tell you anything positive. Why? Because fear sells. And I can tell you that I have been falsely imprisoned. I have been tortured. I'm still dealing with the lawfare 6 years later. I have lived in fear for so long. And I woke up this morning and I said, you know what? It's given me the power, the love, and sound mind. He has not given me a spirit of fear. So I will not be reading the New York Times. I will not be reading any of those things that are going to try to put fear into my heart, because I believe in God and I believe that there is a plan here. And if you don't, that we're coughing and not covering their mouths. After she went back, she went to the hospital and was admitted for the pneumonia. They released her. 2 days later, she went back and she passed away. So while these people were telling us that we were going to kill everyone if we didn't get the jab, we're gonna be, demonized for not wearing paper diapers on our faces. These people were doing this to us while they were importing illegals on buses that we know nothing about. We don't know what kind of criminal history they have. We don't know their vaccine history. And then they put them in our children's schools. So don't think for a second that this is not a battle of good and evil, because it definitely is. But I believe that God is going to win. And the last thing that I want to say is that, even though there has been maybe a little more of a delay than we expected or hoped for with the vaccines, RFK did step up to something very important, and that is Kratom. This Feel Free is being sold at gas stations, and it is being marketed as something that is completely healthy and natural, when in reality, it is more addictive than opiates, and it is deadly. Actually, my friend, who is 41, he was 41 years old, and he took Kratom because he had broken his collarbone. And when the surgeon tried to reattach it, he did not do a good job on the surgery. So my friend was taking the Kratom, and I was like, man, that stuff's so bad for you, And he said that he hadn't taken it for a few days, and then I didn't hear from him for 2 or 3 days, and I got the call. He had a seizure. My friend was 41 years old, and Kratom took his life last year. So
I've been using Kratom for the last 10 years. I do understand what you're saying, and especially the ones in the gas stations, but it's not as black and white as you think. And I'm going to let you finish, but I've been drinking Kratom tea for over a decade. That's when I have my thoughts of that. But I agree with you. All this stuff in the gas stations, nobody knows what's in them. So it's not just the Kratom itself, but
yeah, I mean, it's just like anything that needs to be regulated, or, there needs to be more studies into it. There may be people that know how to take it correctly, but I don't think that it needs to be out there in a gas station for anyone who's 18 and above to be buying.
I agree with that. It shouldn't be in gas stations at all. There shouldn't be a synthetic version of it. And for what I'm hearing in the back channels, they're actually getting ready to approve a version of it that's going to be more addictive than heroin. So it is something that should be regulated because it's operating under the black market. Meaning, for the longest, this Kratom is, if I'm not mistaken, it's a part of the pepper family. If I'm not mistaken, it's part of the pepper family. If you take the leaves and you make like an organic tea with it, it's great. But what they're doing is they're turning it into a powder, which is like making it much, much stronger. The crutch to get off of heroin and other drugs, and also to not go on painkillers, because it does have like a pain-killing type effect. It numbs the body. It can be addictive, especially for people that were addicts, but especially the things that they're selling in these stores. If you abuse Kratom, it does have an addictive trait to it, and the withdrawal symptoms can mimic, not as bad as coming off heroin, but pretty bad. So there are people that definitely abuse it. The products that are sold in gas stations, stores, and all over are very dangerous. I do not recommend them. If you ever want to try Kratom, it's something you should be doing at like a kava bar. The organic version of it, not the synthetic version, because a lot of people are dying from it. And it does need to be regulated, and I'm sorry to hear about your friend. So I agree with you in that aspect, but it's not a black and white, and it would hurt a lot of people if it was made illegal, because it has saved a lot of lives also. That's the other side of the argument.
Yeah, well, I just think that people need to be a lot more careful. I don't think that the public is informed enough about this stuff. The Feel Free and the way that it's marketed and the way that it's just sold at gas stations, it just infuriated me so bad. But I'm glad that he said something about it, and I hope that we do see that come off of gas station shelves. That should not be allowed. But yes, as far as like the vaccines and stuff, like people are definitely still pissed. And just because like we haven't been screaming about it lately, I think that we're waiting on RFK to do something, and we're looking forward to hearing like that they need to be completely stopped, because after my mom's first booster, she had to go on life support. And I had to go in there and make sure that she was asleep so that I could even sit here and talk about it. Because every time she hears anything about it, she gets furious. And my mother is the most loving and sweet woman in the world. She doesn't get mad
Except
unless
about this.
she hears anything about the COVID shots. When she found out that they were still giving the shots, she got really pissed off. So, yeah, like, I have to wait until she's asleep to even be able to talk about it. But, yeah, we're still mad.
Okay, guys, so I have an article. I also want to welcome Falu to the stage. Welcome, brother. How you doing tonight?
Great, thank you. And you know what? One thing that Hope said, all the places they were putting people, like, don't forget how the old folks home, not just schools and the buses, and they were putting them everywhere. And also I was in Michigan, so when that one kid beat up the elderly people at the old folks home and got everybody sick with COVID at the old folks home, that was another one. I mean, very strategic, everything that happened.
100%. Unfortunately, I think everybody here, can identify with that story. So that's the sad part, but it's true.
Hey, this is John. Can I just say that, getting angry to the environment is going to happen. But it's apps like this where we're actually not being censored, because when they rolled out the vaccine in 2021, 2020, literally former CIA, FBI employees were working at Twitter, and is extremely dangerous. And this is still the only app where you can still speak out against the COVID-19 vaccines to essentially formulate all their doctrine on what type of communication can and can't be held. So, Augustus, for many years now, has been organizing rooms to fight back against big pharma and big health insurance, which all relies on Medicare, Medicaid, which is $4 trillion a year that we taxpayers are literally funding our own death and demise through groupthink and stupidity. So I say everyone here, at each other and form our little parallel society so we can fight back against the fraud, waste, abuse, and scam that Medicare, Medicaid perpetuates on us by giving it to big pharma and big health insurance providers. Our money, our dollars, our substance, all borrowed and spent from the Federal Reserve.
100%. So I just want to get into this article, guys. It's only like a couple minute read, but basically it breaks down the leaked MAHA report going hard on vaccines. I'm really excited about it. I hope you are too. Please repost the space and let's get this to a wider audience. A leaked draft of the long-awaited report detailing the Make America Healthy Again Commission strategy for tackling childhood chronic disease has so far drawn mixed reactions from health advocates. The document addresses vaccine safety, medical freedom, and possible health risks linked to wireless radiation, but failed to mention pesticide bans. Although this is a draft document, we are very encouraged by the MAHA Commission's recommendations to President Trump, says Mary Holland, the CEO of Children's Health Defense. She added, and I quote, "The strategies in the draft report show a clear shift in government focus toward protecting public health and preventing childhood chronic diseases, instead of relying on the same failed approaches that have only made our children sicker." end quote. Still, she said that the draft left room for improvement, especially when it comes to eliminating pesticides. Every category of pesticide has been linked to neurological disorders in humans posing severe health risks, she said. On Monday, Politico leaked the draft, which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, you could get the 18-page draft at the top of the space. It's just one over at the top of the space. It says draft of Maha report. It was leaked on Monday, calling the document quite industry friendly. The draft is being circulated among the White House officials and has yet to be finalized. Last week, the New York Times reported it had obtained an earlier draft that suggested good news for the food and agricultural industries. However, at the time, White House spokesman told CNN, any documents purporting to be the second Maha report should be disregarded as speculative literature. The document was leaked close to 100 days after the Maha Commission, led by U.S. Health Secretary RFK Jr., issued its initial report on May 22nd. The early report contains recommendations for steps the federal government can take to address the epidemic. As the press time today, the final report had yet to be published. Here are a few highlights from the draft: vaccine injuries, medical freedom, and conflicts of interest. The draft spelled out a vaccine framework to guide the government's approach to vaccines that ensures the U.S. has the best childhood vaccine schedule and addresses vaccine injuries. The framework also focuses on correcting conflicts of interest and misaligned incentives and ensuring scientific and medical freedom. The Commission charged the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the federal government's Domestic Policy Council to develop the framework. HHS has taken actions this year in support of the new framework. In March, RFK Jr. announced a plan to create an agency within the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, aka we all know them as the CDC, focused on vaccine injuries as well as COVID and Lyme disease. In June, the CDC's new group of vaccine advisors committed to studying the cumulative effect of the U.S. childhood vaccine schedule. Excuse me. I don't know. I had like a burp, but it wasn't a burp. And it was like, I don't know what that was.
That felt painful, dude.
Sorry about that, guys. The CDC currently recommends at least 70 doses of 15 different vaccines for children and adolescents up to the age of 18. These recent actions stand in stark contrast to past federal regimes. Holland, remember, is the CEO of the Children's Health Defense. She says, creating a new vaccine framework is long overdue. Correcting conflicts of interest, improving transparency, and removing initiatives are all welcome changes. The draft also stated that the HHS would launch a vaccine injury research program at the National Institute of Health Clinical Center to improve vaccine injury data collection and analysis. The program may expand to centers across the United States. Holland said she was most encouraged by this addition. The Children's Health Defense Chief Scientist Officer Brian Hooker agreed, and he says, the study of the long-term safety and efficiency of vaccines, vaccine components, and cumulative vaccine schedule has never been done with any type of scientific rigor or veracity. My hope is that HHS will capitalize on this opportunity to prevent vaccine adverse events and acknowledge that the very high prevalence of vaccine injury due to the past fox guarding the hen house via pharma capture of HHS agencies, end quote. Which I met him. I met Brian Hooker, the chief scientist officer at CHD. What a great guy. He violated federal law by failing to study the cumulative impact of childhood vaccine schedule on children. Partnered with other federal agencies and departments to study the effects of electromagnetic radiation on health and highlight areas that electromagnetic radiation and wireless program pointed to a 2008 report by the National Research Council that called for research on the impact of wireless devices and cell towers on kids, fetuses, and
all right, this has been COVID-19 vaccines, Big Pharma, Medicare, Medicaid debt fraud with candidate Congressman John Kitover. Go to johnforcongress.com. Thanks for tuning in. Let's see what else is on X Spaces at the moment. This is called Trolls, Traitors, and Transparency, the War for the UAP Narrative.
The nature of bodies and pilots in these holy vessels that seem to transfigure according to all these myriad conditions that can be either intentionally or unintentionally tweaked.
Well, not only transfigure, but they actually adapt and create according to local properties of physics.
100%.
Well, that to me suggests intelligent design of intent. You're coming to a new environment and you want to be a part of it, but you have to integrate yourself into that environment, and you actually have to change yourself to some degree so that you can interact with that environment.
But some of it is not. There are degrees of it. Some souls who traverse the bardo, the liminal spaces between existence and corporeality, they accidentally end up places, or they are just caught on the wind. And so a lot of that is the case, like the wild huckleberry.
Right?
But either they possess or they go back through the process and emerge once again as the intent fractal, which I've called meme law.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, if that's the smallest aspect of intention, then it seems mimetic to me.
Yeah,
so I call it meme law.
In a matter of observation and prosperity of intelligence that's merging and moving through the cosmos, if you by happen chance come across an environment that is profitable and possible for your intelligence to continue to experience in that environment, as soon as you come across it, you're going to report back to whatever source intelligence that there is that this is a highly profitable.
This place is poised. This particular incarnation is poised for that ascension.
For anybody who wants
it is preferred. It is the preferred premium incarnation. And that is why.
Yeah, exactly. It's right for it. Exactly. It's right for it. And whether or not that is a homeopathic homegrown understanding and explanation of civilization versus a cosmic or universal appreciation.
Yeah, and in essence, what he said about the state. So they believe the Roman Catholics state that they believe that there's a seen and unseen baptism or a seen and unseen salvation. So they believe that they are saved 100% definitively, and that the Protestants may or may not be saved. Yeah, that's their claim. It's kind of like when you get into like the URJ and shit like that. Like Orthodox Jews are gonna be like, the URJ, they're a little fucking weird and shit, but they're still Jews.
I think
It's the same kind of shit. The Catholics and Orthodox Church are just Orthodox. Protestants,
which is that there's really not much mention of banning pesticides and stuff like that because of things with the EPA and the USDA.
He's got to control. He has to take control of what he can control right now. He can't start stepping on their toes when his house is not in order. So he HHS has the ability to, which they do, change the vaccine schedule, so forth. That's what we need to do first.
I agree. I think a lot of people in the space actually agree with you too, my wife, because we've got a lot of anti-vaxxers up here on stage, and the title of the space is, it goes hard on vaccines, which I think is good because I feel like they've been underrepresented and they feel like as if they haven't been heard and they haven't, they've been kind of like ostracized from the Maha community, and I've been telling them, just be patient. Come August, come September, there's going to be some major changes, and this is just the beginning of the end for them. And it's funny, one of the listeners, this lady Hope, here actually remembered my predictions, and she was like, "Dude, I've been holding out until this time, and now what you said has come true." So,
well, I'm just not sure why this headline is being posed as, it's hard on vaccines but soft on pesticides. Just a few weeks ago, everyone was saying, he's going hard against big food and not against the vaccines. I mean, can anyone ever acknowledge that this is decades and decades worth of corruption, legislation, and foundation that he has to undo? I mean,
well, babe, the thing is, strategy implemented by big pharma, by big food, by big media, in order to dismantle the momentum.
Number two, there is nobody working harder in Trump's cabinet than Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And number three, we have to support. We have to support from the grassroots. We cannot be attacking our guy in there. We can't be doing that. So, I just want everybody to keep fighting.
When I look like a professional doctor.
Thanks for that, sweetheart. I've been telling them that for a while now. Not everybody wants to know that, everybody wants to be a critic. What's that phrase though? The man in the arena. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer villain.
What are we up to? Valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory.
It's kind of trippy. I never thought I'd be here in the swamp, but it's cool. It's so weird. Like the other day, we went to go get ice cream, and guess who? Well, we walk up to the ice cream shop, and there's all of these bodyguards surrounding the shop. So I'm like, it's probably closed. Or my wife says, it's probably closed. And I'm like, well, let me ask. So I asked the bodyguard, hey, can we go in there? Are you guys? And he's like, oh yeah, no, you guys can go in there. Come on in. And he opens the door for us. We walk into the ice cream shop. We see 100 little kids, right? How funny is that? And they were with Secret Service. That's who the bodyguards were with Secret Service. So
yeah, I saw that somebody is in trouble for doxing. It's like, here's his address. Go get killed.
Yeah, but that's kind of what it's like being.
Yeah, Augustus. Yeah, I wish I could run into Pete Hegseth because I'd have a talk with the man, because I think Pete Hegseth is a victim of the lies that have perpetuated the darkness in our country for many years. But I won't go further into detail on that right now because this is not the time. But I wish I could have a man-to-man conversation with this gentleman. I'm 75 years old, so I've been around the block a few more years than he has, and I've seen a lie with you. I think if Trump really wants to change should appoint as the head of the USDA, and that's Ed Bourgeois. If Trump's listening or anybody else is listening down below that can get the word to Trump, this is the man that we need to head the USDA. He may not want it, but at least he should be a top advisor. And we don't have to get into a fight about what I'm going to say, but we should completely eliminate any vaccine requirement. The World Health Organization had a meeting a couple of years ago on vaccine hesitancy, and one of the main speakers, one of the head of that said, we are in a very dangerous position. We've put ourselves in a very dangerous position because you know what we've done? We have substituted vaccine immunity for natural immunity. And that's a very dangerous position we've put ourselves in. This is one of the top people in the World Health Organization admitting that relying on vaccines has put us in a very dangerous position. She said it. I can find that video and you can listen to her say it. She's admitting that vaccines aren't the best way to go. Because the best way to go is learn about your immune system and make it strong. Stop doing things that weaken it. I'm the living proof of it. I am 75 years old. I haven't been to a doctor in 55 years. I don't even have a doctor.
This guy's been to a doctor in 55 years.
Scared for his life now and trying to rely on doctors. We don't know anything about real health, the vast majority of them. If Trump or his advisors are listening, if Trump wants to get healthy, bring me to the White House. If he does what I said, I'll guarantee Trump can get much healthier than he is. And I'll stop for now, and I apologize for my anger. But my anger is about the children. We're ruining their lives. We're ruining their future. We got to stop it. Thank you.
Uncle Ben, I believe we feel the same way. You know, we're tired of being taken advantage of and lied to over and over again, having not enough information to make our own decisions. It's disgusting. And I agree with you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Go ahead, Carol.
Hey, thanks, Augustus. So most people just call me Apothecary Carol, but listening in, one of the things that has come up, this happened as soon as RFK Jr. and Donald Trump kind of, came up with the term MAHA, is there was a division among those of us that are very concerned about the health status of our country and the things that are creating all of these chronic diseases and putting ourselves and our families at risk. And that is the division between what is more important. And this came to really to the forefront when Casey and Callie Means came on the scene in their book and talking about the toxins in the food. And a lot of people in the health freedom movement said, no, that's not important. What's important are the shots, the vaccines, specifically COVID. And, we got to deal with that first. But then the food thing started coming up, with the food dyes and the fruit loops and all that. And then the other side, a division within MAHA. Like we all want the same thing, but this divide came in. And the other side's like the fruit loops and the food dyes, that's not important. Get the shots off. And that was kind of ignored. And then, other things have come in. We've got the president's fitness test now, and they were like, that's not important, deal with the shots. And so there's this division keeps kind of going back and forth, and it's kind of like Mrs. Augustus said that Kennedy's doing a lot. Like, he is doing a lot. The shots aren't off yet. They haven't stopped that yet. And as motion steps are being taken towards that end, there's pushback from, I think it's more than half a dozen health-related organizations, including the American Academy of Pediatrics, against that. And we have to keep some things in mind. First of all, it's Department of Defense project. Just like Kennedy cannot, step in and start, regulating things in the EPA or creating, policy in the EPA. He can't do it in the Department of Defense either. So next time you see Hegseth, ask him about that. Why are these shots keep going? With the EUA and these shots. Another thing people have to remember is he is standing up against, with the FDA, CDC, everything under the HHS, he is up against the most powerful and the wealthiest industry on planet Earth. And to be able to do anything that is going to go up against that industry, he better make sure every T is crossed and every I is dotted. And he's really good at that. He has taken on major corporations and successfully agree. We've got to support him. We've got to stand behind him on all of these issues, all of these things he's doing that is for the betterment of our health. We've got to call him out on things like promoting wearables. I'm sorry. If people want to wear wearables, wear your wearables. But I don't want anything telling me, okay, you're going to have to wear a wearable or else. No. If I don't want to wear it, I'm not going to wear it. Or these, a new vaccine is going to, mimic the human immune system and be like a mold vaccine. No, do whatever you want to, but don't come at me with that shot. So, we've got to stand our ground and call him out where we feel like he's crossing the line, but at the same time, we've got to support him on these other issues as well and keep the pressure on about the shots. We do have a voice. We can put the pressure on. There's a lot of ways that we can make phone calls, that can tag him in posts. Those things, it might feel like it's not making any, it is and it will. So I just want to encourage everybody, I don't want to be patient. Look, I've been waiting on some of this stuff since 2003. Food dyes and other vaccines, and to say, there's so many things that I've helped fight against for a very long time. I don't want to be patient anymore. I'm getting old. I want to retire. But I want him to get it right the first time, or somebody's going to come in behind him and undo everything. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you. Well, that's one point. One more quick thing, Augustus. All of those things, let's take vaccines and just scoot them to the side for a minute. All of these things that are harming our health and have been going on for a very long time primed us. It got us primed and ready for something like this COVID shot or COVID itself to take us out. So all of those things do have to be addressed, or we're going to stay ready and just anything else they throw at us. All right, that's all. Thanks.
Okay, thanks for sharing. Let's go to Brother and then Joe.
Hey, thanks for having me up, Augustus. I just want to kind of respond to Apostle Carol a little bit regarding, and I totally agree with everything that you say, Apostle Carol, but one of the things, initially I was a little bit harsh on Brother Kennedy, but now I'm beginning to realize that this is something deeper and a little bit more nefarious and a little bit more incestuous. So when it comes to health, from the Maha approach, we're concerned, at least I'm concerned about health across the spectrum, both spiritually, intellectually, physically, emotionally. And one of the things that they've done across the board, our educational system has been poisoned, our food supply has been poisoned, our drug system has been poisoned across the board. And the way how you kind of notice a little bit, when you take a look at a guy like Fauci, for all the crimes that he's been committed, he's been able to walk a free man with no consequence for what he did. Now, the nexus between him and my analysis and what I've kind of been able to do is why aren't these people being prosecuted? Well, you know what reveals why they're being prosecuted is the Epstein files. Because when you look at the Epstein files and the child under the national security apparatus, now if you think in terms of Epstein, Fauci is not only part of the national apparatus. To this day, we can't even find out where the origination of COVID was. Let me tell you something. They know where it was. It originated as a National Security Defense Department, whatever you want to call it, National Security Agency bioweapon, for lack of a better term. And this is the problem. And our stronger. So it's going to be really a monumental effort to really get our country.
Can I respond just real quick? Brother? Brother, yeah, 100%. That is, and you are an example of the reasons why I'm watching my little piece of the puzzle. You're watching the national security apparatus. We've got people watching different pieces of the puzzle, and now we can come together. We can put our pieces on the table and see how they fit. I love that. And right now I'm doing a deep dive into the eugenics behind all the poisoning that we are undergoing. And this is why I tell people, Maha yourself. We can't wait on Kennedy and his policies. We can take control of what we bring into our homes, into our bodies, into our lives, and we can Maha ourselves. Yeah, we've got to have the changes happen. It has to happen. But in the meantime, we all have the power to do some things in our own lives to prevent this poisoning, because I'm telling you, eugenics is real.
Okay, let's go to Joe.
Yeah, I was actually what you just mentioned. We have become a meaningful minority already. By meaningful, I mean 1 in 4 parents in my state are not vaccinated at all. And that seems to be a contagion that's a wonderful one, because usually it ends up killing pediatricians or fires, because they are the biggest threat to our children, the pediatrician. Now that said, do I wear Maha? I agree with you. That's why I documented my protocols into my Rumble space. Exactly what I'm doing in my family to detox from lead, and after the majority lead is done, after lead being no longer the majority, then aerosol mercury. And then we're going to be taking a couple weeks break, which is necessary because you don't want mercury and aluminum, because bad stuff happens. And then we're going to switch over to malic acid, and it'll probably be a twice dose based on test results from excretion. And the more we talk about each of our things that help us to become healthier, the more we realize how little we know about our own life expectancy, because everything I've seen about aging is a neurological issue, and nervously and Parkinson's. And another case of us got asthma and allergies, and one of us had scoliosis, and I was starting to think about that and realizing that, these vaccines stunt development, or just stunting development on one side of the body with like scoliosis. So we're hard against even our local health department for wanting to poison our kids, and I was even suggested to contact them about the lead poisoning. And I've already got a treatment by coincidence, because I've been thinking about all the countermeasures and shots, not just COVID. I already have protocols in place to recover from lead poisoning. And another definite support of this is, when you get lead intoxication, you become more violent. So it wasn't an accident that I was separated from my wife, but my daughter and I moved out.
Okay, this is candidate Congressman John Kitover. We're about to go live on a big Zoom live stream podcast, and I hope you enjoy it.